Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dr. Lindsay Renzullo. I'm very excited for today's episode. I'm going to be flying solo, so I'm not excited because of that. We're missing Dr. Vernalican. She is not able to make it to today's episode, so it's going to be just me. But we have a great guest on today. And this is a topic we have not covered before, but many pet owners are very interested in it. So joining us today, we have Amber McCune. She is the general manager of American Canine Country, and that's located in Amherst, New Hampshire. And along with her dogs is a national agility champion. So that's pretty impressive. Round of applause. Amazing. So welcome, Amber. Would you like to start just to kind of tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got to be a dog trainer?
Well, my name is Amber McCune, and I'm from American Canine Country, like you said. We have been open for 19 years, and this was my mother's dream is to have a facility built by dog people for dog people. And it's a very family feel. And this was, like I said, my mother's dream. So I was destined for vet school. I wanted to be an equine vet more than anything in the world.
Oh, my
But my
goodness.
I know, but my mom is not the most organized person, so I was a little fearful. So we have been open 19 years, and I've been here ever since. I got the agility bug about 3 years into us having this business. And once I realized that dogs love agility as much as we do, and they're your teammate, and they think this is the coolest thing ever, I got addicted. And now I've been competing pretty competitively, I say for about 12 years now. I have won the Westminster Masters Agility Championship twice with Kaboom.
Holy. Yeah, that's
Kaboom is a
fantastic.
two-time AKC National Agility Champion, which the AKC Nationals is the biggest agility event in the world. They have more dogs there than any other agility event in the world. And his dad, whose name is Notch, also won in 2019. So me and my dogs fly all over the world competing, and I just am so lucky that this is a sport we can play with our teammates that love it as much as we do.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I mean, for our audio listeners, you guys cannot see, but behind Amber is like the best room ever. It's like there's medals and ribbons and pictures of her dogs that are up there. So, we could obviously tell not only from your intro, but you've had a lot of great experience and a lot of good competitions. That's fantastic. And so, as far as dogs that you have now, like you were talking about all the dogs you're working with, how many dogs do you actually have right now that you're working with?
Well, I currently own 6 Border Collies. I say I'm a little bit of a cheater because I own Border Collies, which are like little furry humans, so they're not as hard to train as other breeds. But I do compete with a flat coat, a Shih Tzu, and a couple other Border Collies that are owned by other people. So I'm just an agility addict, and I compete all over.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, as far as the different types of dog sports, it's funny that you mentioned that, agility is sort of the one of the sports. And for our listeners, agility, I think that always people always think of like that big open arena with lots of different types of things that you can do, but there are other types of things. There's like that dock diving, there's
Mhm.
different herding, obedience, right? So,
Yep.
talk to me about your training. Is it specific right now in just agility, and tell the audience a little bit about what agility is?
Well, all dog training is, regardless of the venue that you use, is just teaching them tricks, right? And I always say
Yep.
we're just trying to teach them to somewhat know a little bit of English and to have a dialogue between them. Whether you're a pet person that just wants to go hiking with your dog, you still need to have some sort of dialogue so they understand, well, don't run away, don't chase the squirrel, stay with me. So whether you're doing agility, whether you're doing herding, flyball, fast cat, dock diving, it's all just a set of tricks that we string together and have a fun time with. All dogs, regardless of what sport you compete in, need to have general obedience, which is
Yep.
just general. Let's know English.
Yep.
Let's not just be wild, crazy animals. Know appropriate behaviors versus inappropriate behaviors, and have some semblance of impulse control, just so they can live a happy life with humans.
Right.
Um, but each sport you can tailor it to whatever your dog's strengths are. My dogs are Border Collies. They love to herd. So chasing me, who is just the sheep, let's say, on an agility course is awesome. If you have a dog like a lab or a dog that really likes to jump and has crazy toy drive, then dock diving is your thing. Um, Fast Cat is a new venue, which it's kind of like lure coursing. The dog has to do the 100-yard dash and just chase a white bag,
Oh.
and it's timed. And we use a speed gun, so you could actually see that your dog is running 30 miles an hour. That's a really, really fun new game.
Oh, I like
And
that. Full disclosure, Amber, I have not seen a competition of that actually. So that's
it's
definitely something I'm going to be
cool.
looking up after this.
Yeah, and it doesn't require owners to do a ton of training, right? Most dogs have a bit of prey drive, so they can just chase this, and it's so cool to see. And there's a national championships in Florida in
Oh, that's
December.
cool.
And can you imagine having the fastest dog in the country? You
Yeah.
know, I think any dog sport is amazing for pet owners to have because they'll understand that Fido is just not a dog that lays on the couch. Wow, I can have a relationship with Fido, and we can do something together. And that's really the reason we have this building and we do dog sports is for owners to understand that having a relationship with your dog and a dialogue can open up so many doors to your life that you don't even know about. And dog sports really are the key to that.
Yeah. I think it's funny because you had mentioned, the types of dogs that you have, sort of border collies. And, border collies are known, I think it's fairly common knowledge that they are very smart dogs, right? They're a very smart breed, but you're spot on in the sense that they actually do really thrive from doing a particular job. So those types of
Correct.
dogs, not only do they really excel in agility, but it almost is like they sort of need that in their life, right? Right. A border collie would
Mhm.
not be a good apartment dog to kind of hang out with just because you think they're smart, right?
Correct. So
Yeah.
finding what your dog was bred to do, even before you buy a dog. Let's say you want a dog that you can go hiking with. Well, don't get something that a beagle that's meant to track and run loose in the woods. Finding something that your dog's breed was specifically bred for centuries to do is really the key. Border collies, yes, they're wonderful for me, but they are not good for the general public. They are neurotic at times because they need a job. They
Hmm.
must do something or they're going to find a job in your house. And the job might be eating a hole in your wall. It might be chasing the neighbor's cat for hours or chasing the sun. There's some that are super obsessive. So finding something that is a good outlet for your dog specific breed. Now, I do agility with a Shih Tzu, which she's the coolest little dog. Most people wouldn't think she'd be good at agility, but she happens to love it.
Yeah.
If you have a bird dog, anything like water sports obviously tend to be better for them. Chasing a bumper, you definitely can do some different hunting type, skills with them. But definitely getting a breed that is tailored to your lifestyle is the key, regardless of dog sports.
Yeah, no, I love that. And as far as, agility training or really any training in general, you know, finding the particular breed, finding what's going to be beneficial to them is important, but then starting them maybe young. And you have to be somewhat careful, right, with agility. So I remember learning in vet school there are some restrictions as far as like agility training, especially as dogs are growing up. And so you probably tailor a little bit of your training to the age of the animal. And mainly it's just because of the high impact sport that it can be, the ups and
Mhm.
downs and the jumps and things like that,
Oh
watching
yeah.
those young puppies with their growth plates and such. So I'm assuming you kind of tailor that so they can still learn and get used to the course, but don't necessarily have to go hardcore.
Right. I mean, 90% of agility training is just teaching the dogs how to steer, right? So we don't need to make them jump. We don't need to make them go over an A frame. It's like driving a car without a steering wheel. Yeah, you can push the pedal and go super fast, but if you can't steer, then
Yep.
it's kind of useless. So with the puppies, all they really learn to do is go around things slowly, chase a toy, and really have a good relationship with us. Because any dog sport, it's all about the relationship with the owner. You
Mm,
want them to want to work with you and enjoy working with you. Yes, there has to be a little bit of consequences of, no, that's the incorrect thing to
right.
do, but a consequence doesn't have to be negative. It's just, oh no, that didn't pay you a cookie or a toy.
Right.
um, if you offer me a behavior, then I'm going to pay you really, really well. So with puppies, we don't do any sort of jumping or any weave holes or anything that's hard on the joints or really snappy turns until at least 8 months. And I'm saying eight
Yep.
months is just having them learn to go around a cone. They're not doing any major jumping until 15 months. You can't enter agility shows according to AKC until they're 15 months old, just so
Mm,
nobody wants to rush.
yep.
Dock diving, you can jump dogs over 6 months because they're jumping into a pool and it's
Right.
less impact, obviously. But going slow will preserve your dog's career for a long, long time. A lot of people just call here and, oh, I want to get my puppy into agility. Well, there's a lot of agility that doesn't have to do with any of the equipment because we don't want to injure them. Because
Yep.
the worst thing you can do is have this amazing dog, and at 2 years old, now they're
Oh,
injured.
yeah.
So, pretty much my entire day and my entire week is all about keeping my dogs fit and keeping their bodies safe
Hmm. Yep.
so that we don't have an injury. So, fitness really is the key once you have an adult dog. that, is obviously done growing. It's not necessarily train, train, train. It's keep them fit, just like a person.
That's interesting to say. So, I mean, on that note, can you start a dog that is a little bit older in these training? Like, do you ever have dogs that come in at like 2 or 3 that have never really done agility before that you can start training them? Is there ever an age that's too late?
No, it's never too late. You can train any age dog. I mean, I have an older dog. He's 13 years old now, and they always want to learn because they're always busy and thinking, right? Dogs constantly stare at us all day long, hoping that they can communicate with us. So whether it's teaching them to, lie down and roll over, or it's go over a jump, you definitely can train them at any age. Now, granted, an older dog, you're not going to make it jump high, but
Right.
doing tunnels is the most fun thing ever for an older dog. So, no, we have customers that come with puppies, with older dogs, with middle-aged dogs, any age. The key, though, is to keeping a safe dog is making a fit dog.
Mm. And that's a good point. I mean, I think that people often, we always think of dogs, or I think the general public thinks of dogs as truly companion dogs. And as a vet, sometimes we see those companion dogs that have had a lot of love in the in the sense of extra food rewards and things like that, but don't necessarily have the
Yeah.
extra energy burn off. So they're coming in with little extra pounds and things like that. And in general, it's just not good for them, right? So I mean, we've talked about this before. It's bad for their knees, their hips, it's
Yeah.
not good in general for their general health to have a little extra weight on them. So this is a sport that is allowing their brain to stay active as well as their body to stay fit. In college, one breed that you'll see in agility is a Papillon. Have you worked with Papillons before? Yeah.
They're like little mini crazy border collies.
I know, right? So in college, I really wanted to do agility with dogs. You talk about, your journey as maybe thinking about vet school. I was thinking that I love, training and agility. And so got a Papillon and we did some basic agility stuff. Started off like really easy when he was a baby, same reasons that you sort of had noted, and worked our way up. But that dog thrived off of learning and wanting to do the sport. Like
Yes.
whenever he saw where we were going, if we were going to be working for something, he was pumped, right? So it's such a reward as an owner to see, that you're giving something to that dog that is so special, right? So you must get a lot of that, that benefit too.
It's amazing to see a general, let's say, pet person come in with their companion dog, and then all of a sudden they both get the bug, them, the dog and the owner, and they realize that they can have a back and forth dialogue with their animal. And they do. The owners just find it absolutely amazing that their dog loves to go down to the dock. The dog is screaming because he's so excited to jump off that dock. So I think dog sports not only are wonderful for the dogs, but for the owners as well. As owners now realize that they can have a dialogue with their dog. Their dog knows what they're saying and they know what their dog's saying. Versus before it was, oh, here's my dog. He's hanging out on the couch. He's waited all day for me to come home from work. Now owners get home, they throw the dog in the car and they come to class. And on the
Right.
weekends, they have their friends come watch dock diving, like watch what I taught my dog to do. Dog sports have opened up a whole new quality of life for dogs.
And I think what happened, at least up here in Massachusetts, was we had, Suffolk Downs was sort of like the greyhound racing. And so people had this association with dog sports as being a very hardcore life for these dogs, not the best necessarily. And they were these greyhound rescues I was always seeing in Massachusetts, right? I was seeing all these retired greyhounds and, these owners thinking they were saving them from a dog sport. But this is so different. This is dogs working with their owners,
Hmm.
enjoying what they're doing. They're not getting pushed to those extremes that are not healthy, that aren't great, right? So
Right.
trying to give this positive, image on these dog sports is different.
Correct. It's about teamwork. It's about having a partner that enjoys it. Like I said, I have 6 border collies. One of them does not find agility fun whatsoever. So we don't do it. So he just likes to hike. He kind of beats to his own drum. The only reason that any of us in dog sports do this is because our dogs love it as much as we do. And we
Yeah.
want to give our dogs the highest quality of life that we can. So I have a dog that hates agility, so he doesn't do agility.
Yeah.
All my other ones are vibrating on the start line, just so excited in anticipation for the teamwork we get to do together. And that's
Yeah.
really the key to most dog sports.
Now, I'm a very competitive person, and it seems like maybe you are as well a little bit. So, tell me about once you get to these competitions, like how pumped are you though? Too. I mean, is it a really like what's the environment like? I've never been to one of these big competitions that you've sort of mentioned initially.
Well, the really big ones like Westminster, the AKC Nationals, the Premier Cup, the Incredible Dog Challenge, those are all televised. So there's obviously a little bit more hoopla and excitement at those. And honestly, the key is for me as the handler and the teammate for my dog is to be the voice of reason and the calm person. Um,
Mm,
the animals feed off the energy, they feed off the excitement, they see the cameras and the booms, and they can tell that we are super excited. So my job as a handler is to be calm, be the voice of reason, and have them understand that although we are both super excited and the
yeah.
crowds are screaming, we still need to be calm, have impulse
Yeah.
control, and still follow our criteria. Um, but I won't lie, I am so excited. I'm on the line. I'm shivering in anticipation. It's a lot of fun, and I would not substitute this life for anything. And I always say I'm so lucky that my dogs love this as much as I do. But we've had quite the opportunities at these big competitions. But it is a little scary. I won't lie, but it's
That's
fun. It's so
intense.
much fun.
Yeah, it's intense. I can only imagine. Um, so I mean, now if you're, that regular owner that has their companion animal and is thinking about getting involved in something like this, would they seek out, canine, seek out your company, seek out, a general manager of the American Canine Country, right? You're that person. So what do they do when they're thinking about starting that?
Well, if they're in our area, we're in Amherst, New Hampshire. They definitely can, seek out American Canine Country on our website or any school in their personal area. But get some obedience training on your dog, and once your dog knows the general rules of life, being a good pet, definitely find a dog sport. Find something that your dog enjoys. If your dog is ball happy, like ball crazed, try fly ball.
Yeah.
If your dog loves to swim, try dock diving, lure coursing. Like I said, some field work. Try anything that you and your dog thinks exciting together, and it just opens up a whole new world that you understand your dog, and holy cow, your dog actually understands you. So much of dog sports is just living day to day with your dog and enjoying life with them. My dogs only do this because they think I'm the coolest toy on the entire planet.
Yep.
And that's the key. You want your dog to think you are the most fun toy. And if they think that, you can do anything.
Yeah. So, going back to those different types of sports that you can sort of filter out, is it something that you'll ever see a dog and you can kind of help the owner guide of like the certain types of different sports that are available? So we have the classic agility, which has different types of obstacles that the dog needs to do. Things from going into a tunnel to the weave poles to various little obstacles on a open arena floor, if you will. And then you have the fly ball, which is more of launching this ball right and seeing this dog going after it and tracking it. So you can just tell that when you're looking at the dog and seeing the way the dog is sort of responding, are you able to sort of help filter out what that dog might be best suited for?
Typically, yes. Typically, we can choose, which dog sport that dog would thrive the most in. Now, just because I run fast border collies doesn't mean that, someone that has a slower, let's say 5 or 6 year old golden can't do agility. If they love it, the owner loves it, and the dog really wants to try, you definitely can do agility. But certain breeds are obviously more prone to enjoy certain sports more. But like I said, if a dog has crazy ball drive, definitely fly balls probably, in their wheelhouse. If the dog
And
likes to
for the
chase their neighbor's
listeners,
cat
like
a lot.
for the listeners, tell them a little bit about each sport because our producers were wondering, like, if you could give a little bit more details on each sport that is out there.
So obviously agility is the obstacle course,
Right.
which we've seen on TV, the Incredible Dog Challenge. It's got weed poles and tunnels and jumps and A-frames. Fly ball, the dog is basically has to make a mad dash, and it's a race on a team over, I think it's 5 or 6 jumps. They have to hit a board which pops a tennis ball into the mouth and race back. And you're doing this in a team as fast as you can. Fast cat is a form of lure coursing, which is the 100-yard dash. And it's actually on a winch. So release the dog, and the dog chases a bag or a toy. Call it a toy, but it's really a white bag. 100 yards as fast as they can, and the fastest dog wins. Dock diving is the dog runs across a 40-foot dock and jumps into a pool that's 45 feet long that most people have probably seen. Um, there's tons of different hunt test type of dog sports, which is more for the bird dogs. You can do herding if you have any herding breed, which is you can do sheep or ducks. Um, there's nose work now, which is kind of a fun thing that a lot of people do with older dogs or dogs that don't have a ton of drive. So nose work is more, can your dog distinguish between different types of odor? Most shows use birch and star anise, but the police dogs all obviously do nose work for drugs, but we've kind of dumbed it down to just do
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
other smells. We now have barn hunt, which is hunting for rats that are in sealed
Oh my
containers in a
goodness.
stack of hay. Yeah, that's another good one that for dogs that don't have to run really hard, like Newfies and St. Bernards really thrive in that because they're just climbing over hay bales to find rats
Oh,
that are
that's so
safe. Don't
cool.
get me wrong, rats are not harmed. They're sealed in little containers, but the dog just has to be able to distinguish between
Smell
the
it.
actual rat and the rat's bed.
Yeah.
So if you have a terrier, you can do earth dog, which there's very few places in the country that have that. But if you find a place, there's a bunch of tunnels underground that your dog again has to distinguish between where the actual rodent is versus where their bedding is.
Wow.
So there's tons of dog sports. I promise.
Amber,
There's
I
so
have to say,
many.
I don't even know all. I had no idea about some of those ones. That's crazy. I love that. A lot of fun. Now, have you ever had a dog? Let's say, what would you say would be your hardest dog breed? Like when you see if they're coming through the door, you go, "Oh dear, I don't know if this is going to work."
I tend to think the northern breeds are definitely harder to get to work as a team. Let's say Malamutes, Huskies, Samoyeds, even some Akitas, which are not technically a northern breed, but um, they're bred for centuries to be on a sled, right, pulling
Yeah,
ahead of you, generally working independent of you.
yeah.
Yes, you're giving them commands, but let's face it, they're bred to be very independent and work ahead of you. So northern breeds tend to be a little tougher to get to understand to work alongside you or with you as a team. Um, but I mean, I have a husky here that trains with me, and she's a little rock star. So they definitely can be trained, but northern breeds tend to be a bit more independent just because they were bred for so long to do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. And at your facility, do you have just sort of the classic agility stuff, or do you have a bunch of other little options for owners to explore?
Well, we do agility here. We do competition obedience.
Yeah.
We do freestyle, which is kind of dancing with your dog. We do dock diving. We're putting in a fast cat track right now as we speak.
Oh, wow.
We do rally, nose work. We don't do flyball here just because we don't have enough time in the day, but we're putting in a barn hunt barn soon. But I'm kind of scared about the rats.
Yeah.
I like to take care of them.
Oh, that's awesome. And do you have any like favorite competition story? Like, can you think back to any sort of competition that went really well, didn't go so well? I think recently I saw on TV, and I don't know if you saw this too as well. There was some agility training, I think, or agility competition that was going on, and one dog had gotten loose, and it was just like jumping around, going from like dog to dog, and everybody was trying to like corral this dog, and he was just like he looked very happy, but it was almost like a kid that just was like, I don't care, and like running around. But have you ever had like a competition story or anything that you can remember that was a really great memory or moment for you?
I think my most interesting but wonderful moment was when Notch, who is now 13, won the AKC Nationals in 2019. And it's especially wonderful because that morning I woke up with a torn Achilles. I don't know how I tore it in the
Oh
middle of
my
the night.
goodness.
Yeah, I have no idea. I woke up and I couldn't walk. So I couldn't run in shoes. I couldn't tie my shoes. And it
Oh,
was the finals round 2 hours later, and I didn't know what to do. And I said, screw it, I'm just going to run barefoot, I guess. So I'm in Oklahoma running in a horse arena. And think about it, like a foot deep of horse dirt that's probably
oh,
horse manure as well. And I'm like, I'm going to run barefoot. Here we go. I've never run barefoot on dirt. So I ran the entire finals round with a torn Achilles, like on my tiptoe with one foot, completely barefoot, and Notched won it. And
holy
that one
cow.
was
Yeah.
extra special because I had no idea what I was going to do. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I can't substitute another jockey,
Right.
you know, like here we go.
Right.
So
Oh
it
my
was
goodness.
very cool.
Well, and it's also a good point. I mean, that is, and not in that particular instance, because you probably need to ideally, like, you want to rest yourself, but it does keep you in shape too, right? So I mean, like, you doing dog
Very
agility,
much so.
I mean, it keeps you in shape. So it's not only beneficial for the dog, but you're getting a good workout as well, and
I have so
stressing
many
your Achilles.
students. Oh my gosh, I have so many students that have to be fit for their dog. I have one student this morning, she said she just bought a treadmill because she wants to be a better handler for her dog. We want to be a better teammate. And it is the most amazing sport because we do want to be better for them. And I mean, running on the treadmill so you can make that turn faster, it definitely keeps the handlers fit. We call it agility aerobics in the morning. I kind of
Oh,
torture
I
some
love
of my
that.
students.
I love that. Well, I do think the bond, I mean, obviously, being a vet, I do think the bond between a human and a dog, is so incredibly special. But I do think that there is another level you reach when you are able to have those moments where you feel like you're communicating with them on a different level. It
Mhm.
is sad sometimes when I do see dogs that don't have any obedience training at all, right? And you just feel like though the owner and that dog are so there's a disconnect there. And so when you
Yes.
have this good obedience and you have this mutual beneficial relationship, I think it's fantastic to be a part of and probably to see on a daily basis.
Well, dogs don't want to be bad, right? They just
Right.
don't know what they don't know. And we always say for all of our students, whether it's obedience or agility or any dog sport, to allow a behavior is actually training that behavior, right? If you allow your dog to bark incessantly at the door, well, you're like, yeah, keep on going, no
Right.
problem. We like that behavior. Um, and I feel like this day and age, people feel the word correction is a horrible word, and it's
Right.
almost like it's almost like a swear. A correction is not a bad word. It's just letting the dog know that that behavior I don't appreciate. So let me give you a different behavior that you can do that I will reward. And a correction can be just lack of reward. Don't give him a cookie when he does that.
Right.
Then suddenly they go, wait a minute, how do I buy that cookie? Right?
Yeah.
That's all they want to do is have you join in because you're part of their pack. Join in with the party and the barking at the door. And I feel like dog sports allow owners to understand that communication is really the key. Just yelling at him isn't going to do anything. They just think you're
Right.
barking. They're like, yeah, let's bark more. Woohoo.
Right.
Let him know that that behavior is not good, but I'll give you a behavior that we can do together. So, yes, sometimes we do get dogs that I kind of feel bad because the owner is just, he's terrible. He's mean. He's a bad dog. No, he just doesn't know what you want. And
Right.
he's trying everything and he's entertaining himself completely by barking or chewing the house or, whatever inappropriate behavior it is. And correcting the dog
Yeah.
will allow him to understand what is allowed and what isn't. And again, correcting isn't a bad thing. Just tell him
Right.
no and give him something better to do. That's all a correction can be.
Totally.
So dog sports really help people understand that. And that's why we built this building to allow dogs and people, right, to have a better life together, have them understand that dogs just aren't animals that lay on the front porch. They
Right.
want to have a dialogue, they want to have a life with you. So
Yeah.
that's why we're here.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, Amber, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. This has just been absolutely wonderful to sort of discuss, the world of dog sports. And if you guys are interested in learning any more information about what Amber does or about American Canine Country, you can visit their website at americancanincountry.com. And that's K as in the letter K and nine, number nine. And you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. So we really want to thank you for today. It was absolutely awesome discussing this with you. We'd like to also thank our sponsor, Ethos Veterinary Health. You can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app or watch a video version on our Ethos Veterinary Health YouTube channel. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time. I'm Dr. Lindsay Renzullo. Bye now.
Bye, thanks.